try to create a branch in here. So I'll go back to this icon in here, and we'll say create a new branch, and let's call it demo branch. All right, and if they press enter. Now, if you see at the bottom, my branch name has changed in here, so it's called demo branch now. Okay. Now, same in the if you go to the VS Code, if you're using VS Code, you can do the same thing in here. You can click on branches and you can say create branch, and I can call it like another branch in VS Code, and I say press enter, and there we are. So if you see in the bottom, we have a separate branch being created. Okay, now let's go ahead and do some basic operation as we do in the Git. So let me just create a new file in here, and let me call this file as index.html, and I'll use a small snippet. Let me just call it a demo for Git, and I think I'm not going to make any too much change in here, but let's just call it like a hello world, very small, very minimal. There's not fancy anything about it one. So now if you do that, I can see that I have a small icon in here which says have a new changes in here. But notice that these changes, they're in the workspace of my Git pod. To verify that, if I go back in my original repo and if I refresh this page, see, the changes are not in here. The reason for that is the changes which I made in here, they are not yet committed. Now, what is this commit? I would think of a commit as kind of committing to, committing to somebody, like you're ready to, take a next step. Now, until you're ready for the next step, you don't want to commit anything, right? So same is the case in here. If you're ready for, once you feel comfortable that yes, this is the final change which you were thinking of, and everything is working fine, as meeting your expectation criteria and everything, then you want to go ahead in here and you want to click on this small icon, if this plus icon, and what that will do is it's going to stage the changes for the committing. If you have multiple files in here, let's go back. Let me just create a new file and let's call that as style.css. Now, if you see in here, I'll have two files being created. Now, I can choose individually which file I want to, add for my staging. If I'm comfortable with writing both the styles, I can simply click on this header, which will say like, I want to add all the, I want to stage all the changes which I have in here. But if I'm not comfortable doing that, I can individually select one particular file, whichever I'm interested in. But for our purposes, I can simply say just add both the files, or maybe we can do one by one if I want to. So let's say stage all. Once it does that, notice this has changed from changes to the stage changes. Now, what do you mean by stage changes? Stage changes means that Git is now ready to make those changes committed to the code base. But to commit that, we need a message in here. So like say, why you are adding those changes, why these two files were added in there. Now, I would add a specific, very small one-liner which will help me identify what is the main change which I'm trying to bring in here. So for me, I'm going to say adding index.html and style.css. In your case, it'd probably be something else. You might be adding like you might call it like added a index page with style or something. So this will make it more generic and more understandable that you're trying to bring in a complex piece of functionality if you're doing so, and that will make it more relevant than just adding one simple or maybe a complicated twisted line. So I would encourage to keep it short, keep it simple, and make it more understandable in that one particular line.